In 2 weeks, the United Kingdom will go to the polls for the third time since 2015. Prime Minister Boris Johnson pushed for the election in the hope of gaining an outright majority for his Conservative Party. The campaign has already seen him debate his key rival, the Labour Party's Jeremy Corbyn, while there are a range of other contenders with various views on the key dividing line of Brexit. But now a hotly anticipated poll is predicting Johnson's Conservative Party could be on track to win its biggest majority in more than 3 decades at the December 12th election. YouGov's poll is forecasting a 68-seat majority for the Conservative Party, using a technique that more closely predicted the 2017 election than standard surveys. Chris Jeffery from Legal & General Investment Management is still with us. So we have seen the pound hit a 1-week high on this, Chris, but still trading below 130. Does that mean that how much more potential is there for pound upside, given that even though we saw a gain, it was a fairly muted gain in reaction to this poll?
Yeah, but I think you've got to think about what was the market pricing before we saw the poll.
Yes.
So the polls have consistently had a 10-point lead for the Conservative Party, so they're plus or minus over the course of the last few weeks.
Yeah.
The market was clearly kind of positioned for that outcome, but we're all kind of aware of what happened in 2015, and there's kind of a concern that we might be sort of once bitten, twice shy, with the huge swing that we saw very late in the day.
Yeah.
So this piece of information kind of adds to the evidence that that is the likely outcome, but it doesn't totally transform the risks. There is still a risk that we get a last-minute surprise in the campaign that makes everything tighten up. But as things stand, the market is clearly positioned for that Conservative majority.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, with a poll like this, there then start to be questions over whether it might lead to complacency among some voters. And you even did have some warnings from members of the Conservative Party saying not to be too complacent, actually, about the outcome and that it could still go either way. So how are you choosing to approach this at Legal & General? Are you trading it via the pound at all? Are you looking at the gilt market? Are you taking equity positions?
So we've got to think about, well, where is the premium that is still available in the market kind of running into this event? So we think that the UK inflation markets are one place that are quite interesting. So there's a very elevated path of UK inflation priced over the next 5 years that was not really consistent with the kind of macro effect we would normally expect to see if sterling appreciates a bit from here. So one place we're explicitly doing this is underweighting UK inflation markets versus US inflation markets, for example. In sterling itself, it's quite hard to make a case that this isn't just going to sort of move a small amount as the polls shift. So we kind of struggle with sterling itself. In the short term, it's UK inflation, and then longer term, we're looking at whether there's a case for adding UK equity exposure funded out of other markets.
Yeah.
UK equities remain at a material discount when measured on lots of traditional bases. So that does look like an interesting place for the medium term to be looking from a global allocation perspective.